in a small town down in Arkansas, where the river flows. There's a man with a passion that everybody knows. He's got a collection that'll make you stare. Vintage pocket knives laid with tender care.
Howdy everybody, welcome to HT's EDC, coming at you indoors this Lord's Day Sunday, holiday weekend. Happy Labor Day weekend to everybody. Hope you are having an awesome weekend. If you are a Alabama Crimson Tide fan, or let's see, a Clemson fan, you're probably not having the best Sunday morning, but anyway, that's why they play the games. And I'm getting my licks in early. I might well be joining the losers bracket tonight. We have a tough game today against those Catholics from Notre Dame. My Canes, go Canes. We play tonight. But anyway, great day of college football yesterday. If you guys are fans of that, Ohio State and Texas was a close one. The nightcap, LSU and Clemson, was a fairly close one, but that game did have one of the worst calls I've ever seen. A referee and crew replay and still get wrong. Honestly, there should have been another touchdown that LSU had that they took away. But I don't know, technology. But anyway, we're going to get into it today. I want to talk about this guy and what we're going to do this morning. First, we're going to do our paper check. I got a full sheet of paper that is not damp or anything. Well, full sheet. I've already cut a little bit off of it, but pretty much a full sheet of paper. And we're going to check this old ramen killer, aka the new Tonto blade, crossbar lock from Ozark Trail. And I believe we're probably going to be about failing now. I cut quite a bit yesterday with this, some more boxes. And yesterday we did have I only had a little scrap piece of paper when I checked it the other morning, and it had got damp. So we're going to give it a good check. And if it indeed does fail, which I'm thinking it probably will, we're going to drop this camera and we're going to give it a good stropping. And if that does it, we'll stop there. But if not, I have a strop here and I have my Work Sharp, my go-to here, my Work Sharp field sharpener, and we can go to a ceramic or whatever. The point is, we're going to see how this steel responds to maintenance and what it'll take to get it back to slicing paper properly. So we'll go ahead and do that. See where we're at right now. And yep, if you can, I honestly think, and it did cut this hunk off right here after kind of working with it, going with it. It's trying to hang up, and to be honest, this knife is going to cut a long time out of sheer geometry. I don't know how much I've talked about this, but this thing comes down to a pretty darn thin edge on that. You got about a 3/4 height here, and actually that's kind of a hollow grind. That thins all the way down here to the business end, which is a good thing. This thing is going to lend itself to cutting and slicing even when it starts to get dull. But see, it is, yeah, it's wanting to hang. That is not smoothly cutting notebook paper. So we're going to do that. We're going to call that a fail, which was 7 full days. I cut with it all day yesterday, Sunday. Did cut some more boxes. A bunch of open up bags, plastic, just around the stuff, around the house stuff, folks. I have not, like my buddy, I had one of my followers. He cuts down 250 boxes an hour. That's not what we did. We did cut up some boxes. We did process down some cardboard. But this is stuff you're going to really, in my opinion, real world do around the house in more of an urban environment. And I use this 7 days for everything I cut. Food prep. Yesterday I cut up a bunch of onions and tomatoes. I sliced them first and then I diced them for our salads last night. Cut up a box. Just trying to get you the picture of what this has been through. So food prep, opening envelopes, cutting down boxes for 1 week. And at the 1 week mark, this failed, in my opinion, failed a paper test. So now we're going to see what it takes to bring it back to pass that paper test. So we're going to pause right here. And when I come back, we're going to drop down and do a little tabletop. Hang tight. All right, so here we go. We got the old Ozark Trail Valor, and we got a two-sided strop here, kind of a rough side here, and then we got a smoother side on this one, and this has some compound on it. Both sides have some stropping compound. So we're just going to see what it takes to bring this thing back. I believe this is stroke 4. I haven't exactly kept up with it. We'll call that 5. If I'm off, I'm off. 6, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. If I counted right, I may have been 1 or 2 off. And I'm going to touch this little tonto tip here. We'll give it like 5 strike swipes right here on this tonto part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. All right, we're going to flip it over. That was the rough side. We're going to flip over here and wipe this off. We are going to give it, I'm going to say maybe 5 and 5 here on the finishing side, on the smooth side, and then we're going to come back and test it and see what we got. So this time I will actually count. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5. All right, and we're going to hit this one more time. We'll hit this little tonto part. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and finally this off here, and we're going to turn you back around and see what we got. Stay tuned. All right, we're back turned around. We got our sheet of paper. We have just gave this a pretty good stropping, and we're going to see now if that brought it back to at least cutting paper smoothly. If not, we will take it further and see what we got to do to get it to clean, shaving this, slicing this perfect. So let's see. That could have been operator. It is better. It's better, but I'm still having to stop and bring it a little more. That is not, it's not smoothly slicing paper. It's not smoothly slicing paper. So what we're going to do is the next step, I'm just going to take it here on my smooth ceramic stone and see if we can get it back with a little stropping, and just taking it to a ceramic. And if not, we'll go back to a stone. But that's not as smooth as it was out of the box. When that was right out of the box, it would just glide through that paper. And stropping, I think it made it better, but it's still not smooth. So we are going to give it a little bit of the old Work Sharp field sharpener here, and we are just going to hit this smooth ceramic, because you really don't want to go further than you have to on the sharpening. Anytime you go back to your stones, I mean, sharpening a knife is removing metal. It simply is. So you are taking off metal blade every time you sharpen a knife, which is it is what it is. I mean, that's what you got to do to sharpen one. But my point is, you don't want to take off more on a knife than's necessary. It's maintenance. You know, if you stay on top of your knives, you should not have to go back to a real aggressive stone unless you have just totally rolled and wrecked your edge. So I try to do the least possible to get it back to performing the way I want it to. And I have not been counting my swipes here. I should have. And I know I'm off camera, so maybe I'll bring it up here for y'all. I should have probably dropped it back down. But I am just using this ceramic right here. And I'm going to hit this little tonto spot a little bit. This point of this thing. And, all right. And we will, any kind of little burr or anything we might have raised there, I will just give it a pass or two on this rough little strop that comes on these. You do get a little piece of leather strop with this. I love this sharpener. This is about how I sharpen all my pocket knives. I love it. It works really good for me. Give it a few more swipes here on this tonto. All right. So this, and I can check this on my thumb. That is starting to definitely bite my thumb. The old thumb test, if you know, you know. But I can feel that coming back. So See what we got. There we go. There we go. Yep. That was there at the end. But yeah, this is good and smooth. And when that does that little deal at the end, that's me running it up there and it hits that Tonto. If you know, you know. I'm running along this flat, which is just gliding, and then when I get up here to this little Tonto, it wants to curl because I don't finish my stroke properly. There, see how I rolled? I made sure I rolled and got into that Tonto. This is a sharp knife. So 14C28N on this dude. It took a little more than stropping. It took a ceramic, and this is the smoothest ceramic. You got multiple settings on this thing. You got a rough over here. That's your rough. They even got a thing here for a fish hook, but I just went to the finishing ceramic. So to bring this back, it took a stropping, which got it close. It got it better with stropping, but it did not get it all the way back. So we had to go one step further to the least aggressive ceramic on a work sharp field sharpener. And this is back right. What does that tell you? Would I've liked to have seen it just respond with stropping only? I would. Could we have stayed here longer? And, you know, instead of those 10 licks and 5 licks on the Tonto, could I double that and went 20 or 25 and got it all the way back? My gut feeling is probably. If I'd have stayed a little longer on the rough side here, you know, maybe double that, 20 passes a piece, probably would have got that back. But anyway, we chose 10, which I think is a fair amount. You know, you don't, want to sit at a strop all day. Can you do 5, 10, 15 passes on a strop and bring it back? Well, 10 passes wasn't quite enough, so took a little bit of ceramic. I don't think that was long. I mean, you've seen how long it took to bring this knife back now. And we're going to go one more week with this and finish up. We're going to take it all the way to the next Saturday and cut with this thing. And I'm going to give you guys my final assessment. But what do I think? It lasted 1 week with urban cutting. Boxes, again, I've already told you what all I do with this. Is that bad? You tell me. That's a personal thing. If you get 1 week of use around the house with a knife before it's not cleanly, slicing paper, your working edge is starting to go away. That's what I would call this, the point this morning. It was still kind of rough cutting. It would stop, it would start. When we went through the paper, but it wasn't smooth. And I got 7 days out of that. You tell me down in the comments. Is that acceptable for a $20 knife to get a week out of it? You may say, I expect 2 weeks or 2 months or, that's kind of personal. You saw how long it took to bring it back. What was that? I don't know on the camera. 2 or 3 minutes of stropping, 2 or 3 minutes of a ceramic, so 5 minutes, 6 minutes, and we've got it back ready to go for this upcoming week. That's what I got. So I hope y'all enjoyed that. Hope that was informative, and we're going to keep doing it for another week, and I'm going to come back and tell you what my final thoughts, my personal thoughts on this knife, what they are. So thank y'all for hanging out with me. God bless you, and we're going to see you on the next one. Go Canes.
Buck knives gleaming under that old porch light. He'll tell their stories deep into the night. Reviews and torture tests, it's a sight to see. HT's EDC.